Hello Year 6, it's Friday the 15th of January and it is lesson 5, the last lesson on this writing unit. So today you're going to be writing and editing your third and fourth paragraphs. However, before you start, if you have had feedback from your class teacher, and not all of you will have had it because you've had it previously for your first paragraph, then I want you to respond to that feedback before you progress with this lesson. Next, you need to familiarise yourself with your plan again and read back your first two paragraphs so that you're again back into the zone. Now you may want to stop this video at this point so that you can do this. Right, Year 6. So, we have now all, me included, written our first and second paragraphs, and we've now moving on to the shortcut. If you remember, my character Eva actually takes the shortcut in this paragraph and decides that she wants to go along there to save some time because she's going to be late for her friend's party. So my third paragraph I've entitled The Shortcut. Yours might be something different, but this is mine. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hide the consequence one because I don't want to talk about the consequence of her actions yet. I want to just talk about what happens when she takes a shortcut up the alleyway. And I said I wanted to get personification in here. Now I know I've already got personification in here because I put it in even though I hadn't planned it because it sounded nice and it added to the paragraph, whereas here I'm going to try and get it in. Now I want to build on the atmosphere in this, and my personification is going to help me, but also my language choice is really going to help me in this paragraph. So let's get started then, shall we? I left her when she didn't know what to do. She was going to take the alleyway, and I think, if I remember rightly, she took it, she wanted to take it, but she knew she shouldn't go down there. So I'm going to have her entering the alleyway. On entering the alleyway, comma, silence. Now I want to make a contrast here. How noisy it is on the high street with all the traffic being there and it's snowing and traffic blowing their horns and people rushing and people talking, to how quiet it is the minute she steps off that pathway and goes and takes the shortcut. So I'm going to use my personification here. On entering the alleyway, silence wrapped itself around. And I'm going to use my semicolon again. Now remember, semicolons join two main clauses together and can often replace either a comma or a coordinating conjunction. So I'm going to put here, no sound was heard at all. So I'm not saying it was very quiet. I'm actually, by using my language choice, I'm making it sound quite atmospheric here. So I could use a coordinating conjunction and say silence wrapped itself around her and no sound was heard at all, or I could put a comma there, but I quite like my semicolon, so I'm going to keep it there. And then I'm going to build on that and build on that atmosphere, and I'm going to say, what's more, comma, no one had been along the path for some time. So what's more, no one had been along the path for some time. Now I'm going to explain how we know and how Eva knows that this has happened. So I'm going to say walking as quickly as she could, because she's still in a hurry to get to the party, her feet sunk into the crisp white snow. Now you know that if it's been snowing and lots of people have been out there, there's footprints and it's not crisp, it's all slushy and dirty, whereas here her feet are sinking into the crisp white snow, which infers that no one's been there for a very long time, which is what I'm trying to say. Now, I'm going to put walking scripture, her feet sunk in. Then I'm going to start a new sentence. Stopping momentarily. Now, I'm not sure I've spelt that right, so I am going to underline that because I don't want to start looking it up in a dictionary just now. That's when you would purple dot over your pen, over your word, and that would then remind me when I go back to editing my work, I have to check that in a dictionary. So stopping momentarily, and I'm going to say why she stopped. To wrap her scarf more. Oh, I'm still underlining now. Right. Don't you love it when things like that happen? Stopping momentarily, comma, to wrap her scarf more tightly around her. So I've explained why she stopped. She noticed out of the corner of her eye. Now I could actually, because I've got quite a few commas in here and I'm adding extra information, I might use brackets to separate my parenthesis here. So she noticed out of the corner of her eye some writing on the wall. Okay, so here I've done all this now, checking back with my plan to make sure I've done it. It's really important that we keep going back to our plan to make sure that we've got everything we said we wanted to include. So, on entering the alleyway, silence wrapped itself around her. No sound was heard at all. What's more, no one had been along the path for some time. Walking it as quickly, see, picking up a mistake there, as quickly as she could, her feet sunk into the crisp white snow. Stopping momentarily to wrap her scarf more tightly around her, she noticed out of the corner of her eye some writing on the wall. Then I'm going to use the word that some of you explored earlier on in the week. Curiosity got the better of her and she moved closer. Now, comma, I'm going to use speech marks now. Now, we haven't discussed speech marks in year 6. However, I know that you did do it in year 5. So I'm going to use some speech and it's going to be direct speech. So I'm going to open it up before she starts speaking. So curiosity got, not get, got the better of her, keeping my tenses right. What could this be? Punctuation inside and close that. She muttered to herself. Then I'm going to create the noise. Suddenly, using an adverb to start my sentence so a comma goes after it, even though I spelled it wrong. Suddenly, a noise from behind her distracted her. Now I don't need her and her. That just is too clunky. That doesn't sound right. I think suddenly a noise from behind, comma, distracted her. That would work. Take out the her. Okay, we'll stop. Okay. Right, I'm going to read that back now because I've got everything that was on here in my paragraph 3. On entering the alleyway, silence wrapped itself around her. No sound was heard at all. What's more, no one had been along the path for some time. Walking as quickly as she could, her feet sunk into the crisp white snow. Stopping momentarily to wrap her scarf more tightly around her, she noticed, out of the corner of her eye, some writing on the wall. Curiosity got the better of her, and she moved closer. What could this be? She muttered to herself. Suddenly, a noise from behind distracted her. Okay. Right. I'm wondering, I don't like the way this stops here. I'm wondering if I could add something to this. So, walking as quickly as she could, her feet sunk into the crisp white snow. I wonder if I could put making her mark. Making her mark where no one had, when making her mark before no one else, making her mark, walking as quickly as she could, her feet sunk into the crisp white snow, making her mark on the untouched path. There we go, I finished that off. That sounds better, I think. Walking as quickly as she could, her feet sunk into the crisp white snow, making her mark on the untouched path. Okay, so again, I'm emphasising that no one had been there, untouched path, and no one had been along the path for some time. That helps that cohesion between that part, that sentence and that sentence. And then here, she's stopping, and curiosity gets the better of her. I don't know why that's gone down there like that. Right, now I'm happy with it. So now I'm going to save that. I think I would read it one more time. I've still got to check on this spelling, which I'll do when I finish this lesson with you. So that's my third paragraph. So what now I would like, year 6, is for you now. I've modelled paragraph 1, 2 and 3. I'd like you now to write paragraph 3 and edit it, and then when you are happy with it, I would like you to, when you are happy with paragraph 3, continue with paragraph 4 independently. There we go. Take that off there. Okay, now, just to give you an idea of where my next paragraph would be, I'd be saying suddenly a noise from behind distracted her, and then I'd have her then in my next paragraph turning quickly around. That would be my starting sentence. Okay, and then I would continue with this paragraph. So, your task is to write your paragraph 3, referring back to your plan, and then when you're happy with it and you've edited it, you go back to paragraph 4 and write it independently. And then when you have finished year 6, I want you to read through your whole work once more. Does it make sense? Check your spellings, check your punctuation. Have you got all the figurative language in that you wanted to use and said you would use on your plan? When you've done all that, finally, as we do in class, I would like you to green and pink your work. Finally, I feel that I have, and expand on what you think you have done in your writing. It could have been create atmosphere. It could have been that I have considered the effect on my reader. By using, give me an example of what you have done, and then to improve my work I could have used, and then tell me what you could have used to improve it. And when you have done that, if you could then please email it through to your class teacher so that they can read through your work. So that is the end of lesson 5 today. See you next time. Bye.